Alright, welcome to the Total Stickcast. My name's Paul Johnson. I'm a freelance writer, author, blogger, and I do a bunch of other stuff. You can learn more about all that by heading on over to everythingpaul.net. And with me, as always, we're about 50% sure he's a human being. It's Ryan Blair.
Again, I don't know where you get such outrageous numbers. I think it's closer to about 17%.
Okay, excellent. Well, let us know when the test results come back.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But we're far from alone this week, because we're very lucky to be joined by one half of the Broaum podcast, breaking down what it means to be a human in this crazy world. It's Joe Dimeo.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you here. So I'll give you a moment right now if you'd just like to introduce yourself, tell people a little bit about you, and then we'll get rolling with some specific questions and stuff like that.
So my name is Joe Dimeo. I am the creator of the Broaum podcast, so Bro and Ohm. The joking tagline is that we are seeking enlightenment through deadlifts. Basically, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, a liberal bastion, if you will. And I'm a pretty open-minded dude, but I do still have dude thoughts. And because Portland is so open-minded, sometimes his brain fell out. I started to feel myself kind of almost like shying away from a lot of really progressive thoughts that I had just because of the way it was being delivered to me. And so I decided to create the Broaum podcast as a way to maybe help people, hey, it's still okay to be a dude. We all, like beer and steak and having a manly moment now and again. But that doesn't mean it's not okay to have a feeling or to maybe, open your mind up, try something new, go see an art gallery, just be a more well-rounded guy. The term toxic masculinity is something that I kind of despise because I think it gets used poorly a lot. But basically the show's about combating that. It's just like, hey, you know what? You can still be a dude that people take seriously, but you don't have to be a hard ass all the time. You can be a decent dude. Spent a big chunk of my life in the cannabis industry, hanging out with more, liberal weirdos, which I dig. But I also grew up on construction sites. So just kind of this weird battle going on inside of my own head has led to this podcast where a happy accident is that it seems to be helping people. So it's really making me happy at the moment.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great summary. I feel like you've had to say that a couple times before in your life.
That was the first time I've said that. I've had to describe myself before, and it's pretty much the same description. So, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, yeah, so I guess then the first thing, let's start at the beginning, sort of. How did you decide to start the Broaum podcast?
I started a show back in the day called My Portland Buds, which was kind of my attempt at like a Joe Rogan style show. Okay. And then I found out very quickly that unfortunately I'm not quite as entertaining as Joe Rogan is, just on my own. We had no shortage of fun weirdos to talk to, but that guy's a 20-year comedian, and he's done more DMT than I have, so I don't have the same shit to say that he does. And then it became My West Coast Buds, which is a show about cannabis while I owned and operated a cannabis dispensary. And Ben and I kept having these topics we wanted to talk about that just didn't fit into the little weed box we put ourselves in. And he and I both kind of have an obsession with self-improvement and figured that, if someone could spoon feed stuff to me, back when I was 22, I'd probably be a lot more enlightened than I am now. We joke, it's actually in the intro to the podcast, but that NPR voice, the really calm, overly sensitive voice that you hear. Yeah. I just tune that shit out. There's enough of a dude in my head that's like, I just don't take that guy seriously because it seems disingenuous to me. So, a lot of the show is just people hearing my tone of voice but getting fairly similar information, but it's just a little bit more digestible because I sound like a dude you could have a beer with as opposed to a dude that you want to beat up on principle.
Okay.
I know that feeling well.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a lot of people really working in those, like you said, there's the Joe Rogans, there's people but I don't think there's a lot of people working with that specific kind of mission in mind of kind of breaking up some of that, kind of dichotomy or whatever, and kind of, working with the gray area of what that means.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, man. I think that right now dudes are kind of getting a rough shake. I never grew up in an era where I never want to, but I never grew up in an era where it was acceptable to sexually harass my secretary. That's the generation before us, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, there's a lot of dudes out there that really do want to, be enlightened cats, but they're just not, they just haven't had good experiences with it. Their experience with, open-minded liberal people are people screaming at them at an anti-gun rally, or, someone yelling at them that they're the patriarchy. And, you know, for a lot of dudes out there, they're like, man, I make $50,000 a year. I don't know what law I wrote that, you know, fucked your life up. And so they end up just kind of doubling down on the whole America, beer, and titties thing. And I don't think that most dudes are like that. I think that there's a lot of dudes out there that are better people than they give themselves credit for.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. And I think you see it. I think there's the odd time where you'll have a conversation with somebody, or you'll have a real human moment, and you start to see that even the people who maybe are putting up that really black or white, you know, man's man facade or whatever, are really not so much of that when you break them down and it's you know, late in the evening, you know, like.
Well, and I think on top of that as well, you know, is there still? I mean, we live in such an enlightened age apparently, and we have all this equal rights crap going on, and what have you. But I think there's still a really big stigma for men that we have to have a certain behavior and a certain attitude, and you know, men still have to be manly. You know what I mean? And so for a lot of men, I think it is difficult to sort of allow that sensitive side to come out, or to open their mind to different ideas that aren't necessarily considered manly.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny because, you know, growing up in Portland, and, you know, like kind of developing here as a young man. I mean, I lived in Boulder for a while where I grew pot for a living. That was an interesting section of my life if you want to talk about that. But, you know, coming back to Portland, I actually came at Broam from, like, the opposite side of it because, like, I grew up in this crazy liberal pocket where I felt like I constantly got yelled at for being like, dude, I like titties once in a while. Like, it's not bad. I'm a dude. And so I came to the show with the idea that, like, people in San Francisco and Portland and, like, the liberal pockets of the world would be like, you know what? It's okay to enjoy a steak. Not realizing that so many men out there needed permission the other way. And so it was, like, just a super awesome, happy accident. We actually had a lady message us saying that she is she has 13 and 15-year-old sons, and they listen to the show together, and it helps her understand her sons. Like, I would have never fucking thought that would have ever been a thing that would have come together like that. So it's cool hearing that people are coming at it from both ways.
Yeah, no doubt. That's really awesome. That's got to be good to hear. Well, okay, since you opened the door, I'm definitely going to ask about this. Do tell about growing pot in Boulder.
So that was, so the real estate market crashed in 2007, and I got my real estate license when I was 18, and, basically realized there was, like, nothing to be doing with, real estate anymore, and I was obsessed with pot. I didn't even really smoke, so I started growing in my garage, and then got the attention of some people for being a pretty decent pot farmer. I just kind of took to it and just got really obsessed with it. And, you know, you can get pretty good at something that most people half-ass if you get obsessed with it for, you know, a year or two at a time.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old, and they were like, we're going to Colorado to open a dispensary. We need a grower. And so, you know, cut to, like, just barely 21. I'm in Boulder growing in this giant-ass warehouse with one of my buddies from college, and we were, you know, like, it was like 150 lights just straight up. Like, it looked like the first season of Weeds. I mean, it was an absolute joke. But Boulder was a blast, man. I mean, it's like, you know, you run around in that, at that time, it was still a little bit dangerous to be in the weed game. So, you know, hyperbolically thinking I was maybe a little bit of a badass, which I absolutely was not. But it was a trip, man. You know, you go that at 420 in Boulder, they had 30,000 people smoke pot on the field. I mean, it's every cliche you can imagine about Colorado at one time. And it was all true. It was a cool little, like, time to be there. I've gone back since, and it's very different. It just kind of feels like a small San Francisco because of the Google and everything else. And, you know, the weed thing is pretty corporate now. So the industry is very different. But back then, people were trying to figure out what they wanted to do. I remember when we applied for our license with the state of Colorado literally said, okay, you send us $10,000. We'll let you know what the rules are when we think of them. And if you don't get approved, we'll give you $500 back.
What?
That was how the state with the initial run. Like that, and I'm Italian, man, so I respect a fucking shakedown like that.
Yes.
But I mean, Colorado, they're fucking cowboys out there, dude. People forget, man. I mean, I got my ass kicked like 3 times when I first got to Colorado because in Portland, no one fights. So you just say whatever the fuck you want. And like, I found out very quickly that they take that fucking cowboy bronco shit absolutely seriously out there. And it goes all the way out to the goddamn government. Like, we'll tell you the rules later, but you can send us the check today. Like, that's fucking gangster shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's governments all around the world, though. They want to get paid.
Yeah, wow. But they normally kind of let you believe that, you know, it's going towards something, or they're a little bit subtle about what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, you don't tend to get like sharked by them or anything like that, you know? Yeah.
So since growing pot, you said you didn't at the beginning. You didn't smoke a lot. Do you smoke a lot now? Do you smoke more?
I smoke a lot. I smoke before bed. You know, smoke before yoga. I mean, I keep recommending yoga to the people that listen to the show, so it'd feel like a hypocrite if I didn't do yoga. But I do not have the patience to do yoga when I'm not stoned. That's boring as fuck.
Oh, okay. I used to do yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for you, man. I mean, I'm built kind of like the yellow M&M character, so I don't bend as well as people would, you know, as many of the people in the class.
Okay.
But yeah, man. I mean, dude, it's smoke a little bit before bed. I went and saw Captain Marvel the other day. High as giraffe pussy. That was a fucking blast.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it was a good movie?
It was pretty solid, man. I dug it. The 90s throwbacks were fun. By the way, bro, am I hearing like a twinge of a Canadian accent, or is that just something in my head?
Well,
absolutely
who knows?
Canadian.
It could be both, but yeah, we're Canadian.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Yeah. No, and we just got our legalized pot here too, but it didn't feel like quite such a parade. Like as you described, Colorado kind of changing all at one time and people out smoking in the parks and stuff like that. It hasn't really changed anything here. There's just now stores where you can also buy pot. So
well, for Canada though, I mean Canada fucking sucks. Okay, like I mean we get free, we get free healthcare, but I don't give a fuck because we get taxed out the ass.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's insane. We get taxed out the ass. So, I mean, really, for the amount of times I go to the doctor, I would be rich in the States. Like, I would be fucking billionaire, and but everything, no matter what Canada does, not only they gotta tax the shit out of it, but they have to probate it a ton. So, I mean, yeah, pot's legal. But I mean, like we live in Calgary, Alberta, and they started as soon as the legalization was set in stone, and we were just all waiting for the date. They started talking about, okay, so where can you smoke pot? So it's still illegal to walk down the street and smoke pot.
Yeah, it's basically
right. It's
liquor.
Still illegal to smoke pot in public at all, and so they had talked about these quote unquote green areas, an area for each area of the city. Where people, like a park, where people could just go and light up. And it's like, so that idea was just completely shot down, apparently. And I mean, obviously people are walking around the street smoking pot, because who's going to call the cops? And even if someone did, by the time they get there, you're long gone, right? So, so I mean, for us, it couldn't have been a big deal. It just couldn't,
Yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. When I was 19, I used to roll up to Vancouver, BC, from Portland, Oregon. It's like a 7-hour drive. And, you could drink it at 19, but I remember going to smoke pot at the Amsterdam Cafe a couple times. I met Mark Emery. I mean, like, weed in Canada has always been kind of a deal.
It's always been there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Are you a Rush guy or a Tragically Hip guy?
More Tragically Hip. Yeah.
So one of my best friends is Canadian, and she called me a couple years ago, right before Gord passed away. I'd never heard of the Hip before. Frantic. She goes, "The Hip's having a farewell show, and we need to leave." And this is at like noon, and the show is at 8 o'clock in Vancouver. And so, yeah, she just showed up and took me to the Rogers Center or what is the one in Vancouver, the big dome? Is it the Rogers Center? But yeah, I was
Rogers Center's Toronto.
Oh, yeah, the big dome in Vancouver. But anyway, I went to the Hips, like, farewell show. Had never even heard a Tragically Hip song. I had to have been the only American there. But you guys fucking love that band, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been a Canadian icon. I mean, I'm 41 now. And, and I was listening to them when I was, 15, 14 when they first came out. And I mean, they've just put album after album after album out. And Gord is just such a cool guy. And so it was super tragic what happened to him.
Was that an intentional pun?
I'm so glad you
no pun intended. I'm going to hell for that one. So we absolutely love the Hip. And I mean, even though Gord's gone, I mean, everybody still has a candle lit for the Hip and for him, so.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying anything bad about Rush.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, Rush does have its place, but, it doesn't fill as big a space as the Hip does.
No.
Right on. It's so, dude, it was a truly, like, it was a great experience to just like be there and see, however many people were in that arena singing every word to every song. I mean, you guys are pretty. I like me a good Canadian. I'm very happy to be on the show, guys.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I saw the Hip in concert when I was about 18. So, I mean, they were still relatively fresh to the scene, and even then the concert was sold out, and it was just an absolute blast.
For the shows I've seen, I've still never seen, well, still, I guess I never will now, but I've never seen the Hip, unfortunately.
I would say that I would tell you my favorite song, but I couldn't understand a fucking word they sung, but it was good. I still enjoyed it.
You're more Canadian than me now, Joe. That's what just happened.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll take it.
Because you've seen the Hip, yeah. I can't imagine the energy, though, for that final tour, of course. Like, you were saying, everybody singing the songs and so forth. I mean, I can't imagine, because there's so many people who do die, and fans always feel, robbed that they never got that chance to, in whatever symbolic way, say goodbye or whatever. So it's quite impressive when somebody actually gets to go out there, confront that, and say, hey, like, this is definitely last time I'm going to get to do this, and I'm going to do it for you. Right.
Dude, yeah. I mean, speaking of Canadian icons, man, I teared up a little bit when I found out Leahy died. So,
Yeah.
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 Dude, right after he passed away, the Trailer Park Boys were actually at the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall in Portland, and they, said something about, we lost a member, and the entire audience at the Schnitz started shouting, "Fuck off, Leahy."
Yeah.
At the Trailer Park Boys, and, literally, Ricky, teared up. I was like, okay, now I get what everyone felt when Gordon passed away. I get it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Leahy, that was rough too. Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I didn't get into the Trailer Park Boys until just a handful of years ago, but that was absolutely brilliant. But unfortunately, and I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me. I think the Trailer Park Boys, the guys in there, they're more American now than they are Canadian. They spend way more time in the U.S. doing tours and shows and everything than they do in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But dude, they were that was the Boulder era, man. When I started growing pot, they started handing me Trailer Park Boys DVDs like it was something, like it was like a fucking welcome case, like a pamphlet. Like, so you grow pot now. Here's your Trailer Park Boys DVDs that you'll watch on repeat while you trim weed for 20 hours at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
It is a very surreal moment when you and Ricky are both trimming weed at the same time and you're both sick of it. And then I started referring to all my helpers as Corey and Trevor's.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. They're coming back, but I guess it's animated now.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm 100% on board for that.
I'm at least 90% on board. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. I don't know if you remember, but the very last episode, because they've been gone for 2 years now, they've been on that kind of hiatus. But the very last episode, they were really, really high in jail, and suddenly everything started becoming animated, and they started seeing each other as cartoons. So now I guess they're just gonna tuck into that and go with it. So they're gonna just remain cartoons now.
I dig it. Yeah, there you go. That's one of my goals, to be eventually animated.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, animated on the Trailer Park Boys.
I'll be animated.
Sorry about that. We got off on such a tangent, I totally forsaked my notes.
Oh, dude, it's all good, man. I do it all the time. Every time I have great notes that I'm proud of, I abandon them completely. And then when I'm underprepared, I fucking need them. It's just the way the world works, man.
Yeah, no, maybe I'll get to know what it's like to have great notes I'm proud of. Thanks.
And unfortunately, I don't have notes because somebody, not mentioning any names whatsoever, failed to send me any information in a timely manner.
Hey, you got it
no worries,
with
man.
at
I'm pretty
least 24
easy.
hours. You got it with at least 24 hours.
But you gave me 20... No, you gave me 24 hours, but I was also in the middle of a bone scan yesterday. Not mine, but my girlfriend's. Right?
Priorities, man.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm going to let you say that to Naomi's face next time you see her.
Yeah, I probably won't.
Yeah. No, she would beat the shit out of you.
So, okay, yeah, so I guess I was going to ask, do you, or together with your co-host, do you have any other projects on the go? A lot of people who are creating things tend to have little things simmering on the back burner. You got a graphic novel, autobiography, anything like that coming out?
Actually, yeah, we're shooting a series coming up here. We're starting on 420, actually, where we interview prominent people in Portland while we get our toes done, and it's called Bros and Toes.
Oh, wicked! Okay.
Yeah. So that's gonna be there's a salon that's like all the girls really want to get into. So it's called Finger Bang, which I fucking love. It's very Portland.
That's awesome.
And I reached out to the lady. She's cool as shit. Her name is Glynis. Like just a brassy badass bitch. Cool fucking lady. And so I just love the idea of like I'm 5'8", and so like I'm gonna be interviewing one of the Trailblazers, hopefully. So like a 7-foot African American fellow next to short little ass me. Getting our toes done in a salon that girls desperately want to get into but can't. Everything about it makes me happy. So that's
awesome.
Great. That's the best answer. Yes.
Yeah, so it's cool. There's going to be craft cocktails made while we get our toes done, and just the whole idea again is kind of back to the Broaum thing. Like, take someone that you don't expect to have a conversation. So like, I'm going to be interviewing, a couple of prominent lesbian people. Or a couple of prominent lesbians in the Portland area that, like, visually you wouldn't expect to hang out with me. It's like, dude, let's get our feet rubbed, let's have a cocktail, let's chop it up, and in, like, 5 minutes, see if we can find some common ground. And, who doesn't like their toes done? So,
yeah, no doubt.
That's
awesome.
Fair. That's fair.
So where are you, is that going to be through YouTube, or do you have that, like...
Yeah, that'll be available through YouTube, and then we have a couple people that are interested in sponsoring right now that might want to do, like, an exclusive very briefly in the beginning. But it'll eventually make its way to YouTube and Broaum.com, BROAUM.com.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I love that idea. I'll have to check that out for sure.
For sure. Yeah. It'll be out in about 3 months is when that should be done editing and everything else. So yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, great. Speaking of Broaum being BROAUM, do you want to talk a little about that name? Obviously it's Bro, but where did the AUM come in? What's with the name?
Oh, so that's one of the spellings of Ohm. So, like, when you, like, meditate, you go, oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and, like, I was going to go OM, but then I have broom.com.
Yes.
So Bro and Ohm, just kind of trying to intentionally separate it so that people acknowledge that, it's two different things. But, again, just kind of the whole, like I said, be a dude, but be a better dude. Try your best to be an enlightened cat.
So, do you get a lot of negative feedback? Or any negative feedback?
I hope I'm not jinxing it by saying this, but it has been incredibly positive. And even the negative feedback we've received, like one of the reviews that we have right now is that they're going to say a lot of stuff you disagree with, but it's nice to see men helping each other get better. And they gave us 5 stars. So,
nice.
We're pretty unabashedly, like, we're admitting we like dude shit, but at the same time, also kind of calling out some of the stuff that, we do that we could be better about. Ben and I we had an episode on where we talked about open relationships. We had a lady named Elle Stanger on. She goes by Stripper Writer, super cool lady, and she talked about open relationships and all that stuff. And Ben and I kind of admitted to ourselves that, like, what is it about you just feel like you lose something when someone fucks a man? Like, if a girl fucks another girl, it doesn't matter. But if a girl fucks a dude, she loses something. We're dudes.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
And just like, and me and him both, like, we talked about it and got to the like, why do I feel like that? I'd love to let that go. And he's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, do you think you can do it? He's like, no, it's fucking gross to fucking do it. So I mean, we can try and be better, and we want to be, but like, it would be such a fucking lie to pretend that he and I are completely enlightened dudes. I mean, we're both 30. We make decent money. We've been doing, self-improvement stuff as much as we can. We're a little bit more focused on, probably internal progress than the average dude, I guess. But, it's nothing special. It's just like, hey, man, let's legit try and talk some shit out. Be the older brother that no one has.
That's awesome. I think that's something really, really good that's going with your guys' show, is the fact that you're not too far on one side of the line where it's just a hunting, like you say, beer and titty show, and you're not so far on the other side too that you're chastising that. You have a nice spot where it's hard to hate you. Like,
thank you,
like you said, even the worst thing somebody's been able to say about you so far is you might not like everything, but it's still good that it's happening. Like it's a sweet spot you're in, I think. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, man. That means a ton to me. Thank you. I mean, we're really trying our best to, just like I said, just like if we can make the world a little bit better, we'd be really fucking happy about it.
Well, it seems
and there's just not enough people in the world doing that, so I think that's fantastic. It's very, very noble. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you, guys.
So
seriously,
I think that's awesome.
I didn't expect the ego stroke. This is fucking great. I'm gonna come on again.
And now here's a list of 10 things we despised about you. No.
Yeah.
Finally, get to the good shit.
Yeah. probably through that mission of kind of trying to help, guys get better, your show winds up having a lot to do with mental health at times. Probably, maybe some episodes more than others. But was that something you kind of knew was going to happen going in, or has that been a bit of a surprise to you too, how often you are really directly dabbling in mental health?
It actually has been a bit of a surprise. I mean, I definitely knew that we wanted to, talk about things in a candid way. And, just like, hey, this is what's going on. This is how we feel. And then in an attempt to not sound like, the Beer and Titties show, we investigate why people feel that way. And so it's accidentally become it definitely has become a mental health show in a weird way. But again, I think that there's just the lost art of, like, as Jim Jeffries puts it, like the 50s dad. Like a lot of that shit was really toxic, but their delivery was unparalleled. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of what it's become. It's like, if your therapist wasn't legally obligated to not fucking tell you some shit, he might tell you, buck up, champ. And then on the other end of it, like as an example, like, okay, like, I don't advocate ever calling someone a bitch, right? But every once in a while, someone's being a fucking bitch, man or woman. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
and so
yeah.
if you acknowledge that, then it gives a little bit of credence to the other stuff you're saying. That fucking, we all remember that guidance counselor from high school where you're like, dude, I've been laid more than you. I don't give a fuck what you want to guide me into. You need to have a certain element of respect for a man giving you advice if you're going to take that advice to heart.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of, you mentioned therapists and their, speaking of therapists, like, from your perspective, not that, feel no pressure to, represent all men or represent some scholarly view of the mental health system, but in what ways do you think that mental health is failing men more than it is women? Like, do you feel like that's a thing?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
How the mental health system is failing men more than women. Like, do you feel that that's a thing? Kind of based on those stigmas, based on those things?
I don't think the mental health system is failing men. Just because I think that if you can, I think access to it is a thing, and I think that the way men are being depicted right now pretty frequently, you know what I mean? It's like, if you hear enough times that you're not allowed to have a problem, then you start ignoring your problems, so like, I'm a white dude, so, oh, poor me, but, like, you're the patriarchy, you're mansplaining, you're the 1%, you're this, you're that, like, dude, like I said before, I'm not a sexist if I call you a bitch, you might just be being a bitch, but if you hear so much that your problems don't matter because of your privilege or whatever it is, then you're gonna start ignoring it. You're gonna start, you are gonna believe that your problems don't matter. And you know what? Like we talked about this on the show, it's the starving kid in Africa. Yeah, we're all better off than the starving kid in Africa if we're talking on a podcast, but that becomes an excuse for apathy in a lot of people. It's like, oh, why am I complaining when other people have it so much worse? And then you use as an excuse to never follow your dreams or chase what you really want or fix something that is a problem to you. So I think that's the real gap with men right now. I think that there's, like, here's how dudes deal with shit. If this specific way of dealing with it doesn't work, then you're fucked. And men don't go to mental health experts to try and get better. And then I think a lot of them have a real gap in the sense that, like with me, where as soon as I hear NPR voice, I stop listening. And a lot of therapists tend to have NPR voice, so you just don't take that dude seriously. Like, if you are a dude that sees yourself as, vaguely aggressive or vaguely alpha, you have a hard time listening to someone who tonally sounds like a beta dude to you. I know I used to have that prejudice, so I was like, I want to create a show where it's like, again, it really just started with the way I sound. I was like, fuck it, someone's gonna believe that I might be onto something. Like, if I tell you, dude, it's okay to cry, how are you feeling? Like, it sounds a lot different than that fucking NPR voice. And I think that, like, therapy, just based on the way it's set up, a lot of men shy away from it. But if they go, they get this. I've never gone to therapy as a woman, so I can't speak to that. But, like, if they do go, every guy I've talked to is better for it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's more.
Sorry for the long-winded answer. My bad.
No, I think too. No, you're right. And you know, when it comes to, and again, I think it comes back to that stigma too, whereas you know, men don't go to therapy, right? But absolutely, once they get past that and actually do go, I've been in therapy, and yeah, I mean, the great thing about therapy is not necessarily that you're broken. It's just you're getting a different perspective on things that pertain to your life and to your way of thinking, you know, and it's better ways. I mean, you can sit there, anybody, male or female, can sit there, oh, I feel hopeless, oh, I feel useless, oh, I feel like a bag of shit, I'm no good, I'm this and that. And then they get their buddy to come along and go, well, why do you feel this way? Oh, well, I can't do this. Yeah, but you can do this, right? It directs your energy. Therapy, I think, in a big way, helps you direct energy into a positive way to get healthier. So, you know.
Yeah, dude, I 100% agree. It's funny that you brought up the mental health thing. I mean, our most recent episode is about outlets, just because I think so many dudes just don't have them, you know? Like, and it doesn't have to be physical. It could be, like I recommended on the show, you know, writing a letter to nobody or whatever, you know? So, yeah, I totally... Yeah,
I got my buddy Captain Morgan.
There you go. I like him. Me and him have always gotten along swimmingly.
Yeah.
Also, a very healthy coping mechanism, by the way. Also.
Very healthy, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, agreed. Wholeheartedly.
Anybody that tells you alcohol is not a good coping mechanism should be shot and quartered.
Or just given a good drink. One of the two.
Yeah. Get them laid, get them a drink. Lighten up, fuck.
There we go. And that summarizes the issue with men and mental health right there. Have you had a favorite guest, do you think? At the risk of shading any other guests, do you think you've had a favorite guest on the show? Because you've had a few now.
Dude, honestly, man, not really, dude. We've had a really fucking, you know, everyone's been awesome, man, to be totally candid.
Okay, no, that's awesome. I really enjoyed it, and it might even be that last one. Now I'm kind of... I can't remember for sure that it was the last one. That you had Amanda Arnold on.
Oh, yeah, that was the most recent one. Amanda's a really close friend.
Oh, okay. I thought that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. She said, I related a lot to a lot of things she was talking, like growing up and that. Like, I grew up in a very similar situation with the mental health. It was all over the place in the household. And all those kind of things. So I thought that was actually really interesting. And, she mentioned the chewing on steak.
Oh, yeah.
Metaphor. I really like that, too. About just spiraling, I guess, because people listening to this haven't heard that I have. But just that idea of spiraling into thoughts, and just when you get into those thinking about these thoughts of doom and these things, you know, nobody's gonna like me when I go to this place, this and the other thing, and as you spiral into that, she describes it as like chewing on dry steak. How it seems like it swells in your mouth. You're never breaking it down. You're just chewing it and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just that it suffocates you. It's that suffocating. I know I'm not describing it nearly as well as she did, but I thought it was a great analogy.
Oh, dude, Amanda's got an analogy for fucking everything. She absolutely does. I call it this. I mean, she has her own entire vocabulary. And by the way, Amanda Grace Funny Face on Instagram, you guys check her out. Like, she's like... If you will be able to go straight up hipster on I knew them before they were cool if you start following Amanda Arnold right now. That lady is a funny fucking person.
Definitely. I got that impression from the episode, and I am a big stand-up fan, which obviously so are you from a lot of the names you've brought up today. I know. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we can convince Amanda to drop by the Stickcast someday. We'll see.
Oh, dude, she would do it in a heartbeat. If you guys want me to, I'll get her on. She'd do that in a heartbeat.
Hey, I'd love that. You heard it here. This is recorded now, so it's official.
Oh, yeah.
That's a binding contract.
Yeah. I will openly speak on Amanda's behalf about talking to two cool Canadian guys, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I'd love to have her drop by. Set her up with my info. I guess you don't really have my contact info either, though, because I've been talking to Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, okay. I'm not cool. I vape. So I have negative cool points.
I quit smoking, so I don't know what that makes me. I don't know what side of that equation I fit on.
Well, that's why I vape.
There we go. Speaking of your co-host, how did you guys wind up doing? Like, did you know each other a long time, or how did you wind up connecting on this?
Ben and I actually had a mutual friend that I've known since like middle school. If you guys remember the How to Like Art episode, his name was Alex Moan. And I just needed a producer. I was getting ready to try and do Broam on my own. And then Ben and I just kind of hit it off. I jokingly refer to him as the voice of reason. And we just, it's a really, I mean, Ben was one of the people that kind of helped me get past some of like my initial first impression things. I mean, the dude, you know, he's not a meek dude by any stretch of the imagination. He stands by his morals. I mean, he's not a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, he's very measured. You know, he wears glasses. He's a little bit smaller than me. I mean, he's a dude that I initially might have thought I could push around. And then you get to know him, and the motherfucker he's a bad dude. You know, he's an enlightened cat that knows what his thoughts are, and he sticks by him. And, like, I was like, man, you know, you and I are pretty close on a lot of stuff, but we definitely disagree on certain things. So let's try and make this thing happen. And honestly, I could not do the show without him. But I was hiring him just to run the board and teach me how to work all the sound stuff. And we'd known each other, but weren't super close. And then it just turned into this fucking amazing friendship. I mean, the dude is truly like, he's like my better half. I fucking love the guy.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel that way about Paul at all.
You guys,
Oh,
no,
that's
I
good.
barely stand you
No.
for an hour a week. No.
Yeah, well, no, and that's it, right?
No, that's you guys have a really good chemistry on the show, so it doesn't surprise me they came about organically like that. It doesn't seem like you were just randomly placed with one another at all. No.
Yeah, dude, totally. The universe brought us together, man. Fucking, that's part of the reason we did the astrology episode.
Okay, that one I missed. The art episode I've heard a chunk of. I haven't heard the whole thing, but I heard part of the art episode. The astrology I haven't heard. No.
Yeah, it's just, it turns out that Mercury's in retrograde all the time, and if you think that that's the reason for your problems, you're not taking the responsibility for like 75% of your life.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Yeah, I'll give you guys the cliff notes on that one.
Has there been a topic that you've kind of delved into with it? Like, maybe you haven't had a favorite guest, but has there been a favorite, or maybe a topic that you learned more from than you expected, or than you did other topics?
Yeah, the Kink 101 episode. I fancy myself a bit of a pervert. And talking to Stella Harris, I mean, you know, she's a super interesting lady, really measured approach to everything. And then just part of the reason for the creation of the show was like, if I'm going to tell people to do all this stuff, I'm going to obligate myself to do it. And it's all things that I think you should do. So I went and actually talked to her on my own time, you know, just like about like, hey, here's this, that, the other, just random sex questions to ask a third party, like, you know, and it was cool to just kind of, I'm telling everyone, just go talk, do whatever. But then I'm in a room with just this lady who is a super nice, easy to talk to lady. And I was getting nervous. So I was
she
like,
hot?
okay, fuck, I need to, what?
Was she hot?
Stella is pretty. Stella's an attractive woman. I'm not. Yeah. She's got the secretary glasses and everything. I mean, Stella's a very pretty lady.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I mean, so I'm over here telling everyone to just go out and say it, and I couldn't even do it myself. So yeah, definitely gave me some insight on that one. And also, I'm better at tying knots now, so that's good.
There we go.
Brilliant.
What did Stella do? I mean, so, like, I almost want to kind of assume she's a dominatrix, but what does Stella do there?
No, so Stella is an intimacy therapist. So she talks to people about how in their, you know, personal life they can help each other come better, I guess. But I mean, there's more to it than that. And again, that's part of what you were saying earlier about the mental health stuff being kind of a happy accident. Almost every one of these episodes goes back in some way to communicating effectively. And so if I have to frame a subject with, hey, titties and spanking, and then by the end of it, it goes, talk to your fucking significant other, and dudes hear it, then everyone's happy, you know. And also, every woman that's come on the show has told us the correct way to eat pussy is to not let anyone see you do it. You gotta have your face way up in there, which has been again, unexpected thing that people repeat on the show. But yeah, so, turns out you need to talk to your partner and eat their pussy enthusiastically. But
I thought the key to eating pussy was doing the tracing out the ABCs. Yeah, that's what I always hear, and I kind of laugh. I think I've tried that a couple times, and I went, "No, I've completely lost my way at about D. Like I don't even know what fucking letter I'm on. So let's just fucking, you know."
Yeah, see, dude, I love eating pussy, but I'm dyslexic, so I've never used that one.
There we go.
No, I mean, if you really want the, like, okay, if you want the quick and dirty on that, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you eat pussy, and it looks like, you ever eat a popsicle when you were a kid, and it's all around the sides of your mouth?
Oh yeah, if you're not getting wet, you're not doing it right. If it's not all over your face, in your ears, on your knees. No, I mean fucking
exactly. So if you want to know, like, I mean, that's the quick and easy on that one.
I think I remember, and it's funny. I remember, I think I was about 14 or about 15, I guess, or maybe 16, and I was really close with my uncle, and I asked him, quite meekishly, hey, how do you eat pussy? Right? A girl had maybe mentioned it to me or something, I don't know. And, that was the beginning of my sexual adventure. And that was the one thing that I remember him saying was, it's gonna get messy. If you're gonna do it right, it's gonna get messy.
Dude, you guys, this is a fucking blast. I got someone walking into my office right now, so I would hate to, not that I wouldn't tell them how to eat pussy, but they're coming here for a completely different reason. Can I call you guys back in like 30, or how do you guys want to do this?
Okay, well, yeah, I suppose I could have you just call me back. I was just looking at how long we've been going here. You know what, if you want to give us a call back, sure, we could I could just get you to do some shameless self-promotion now, and we could,
yeah, dude, let's do another episode, man. You guys are funny as shit. I'll call up. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So why don't we do that? I'll give you a minute to go ahead and promote yourself, this, that, and the other thing, and then we'll have you back. I'm willing to say that.
That sounds like a fucking blast, dude. You guys are awesome.
Okay, great. So yeah, go ahead. First of all, I want you to just let us know if there's something you could just tell all men, kind of deal. You got a minute to say that, and then go ahead and lay your Twitter and all that good info on us.
If I could give all men one piece of advice, it would be to say what you're feeling out loud to somebody. Don't let everything just fester inside you. And also lift weights. Those would be the two things that I would say to all men. My name is Joe Dimeo. You guys can find me at broam.com, BROAUM.com. We are on Instagram at Broam Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Broam Life. And we are Broam Podcast on Twitter as well. And seriously, if you guys have any questions or subjects that you want to hear us cover about just how to be a better dude, shoot us a message. And that's how we're getting our topics. So that sounds good.
Okay, great.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. And we'll definitely have you back, I think. Maybe Ben will be able to join us for that.
Dude, fuck yeah, you guys. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, okay, definitely. Have a good one, Joe. Take care.
See you later, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Joe Dimeo. Everybody, freaking A. That was
awesome. Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy. Seems like he has some great stories and everything like that, and a lot of energy. So absolutely fantastic guest to have on the show, and definitely we should have him back and get Ben involved, and that's a good time.
Yeah, for sure. That was awesome, and I look forward to having Amanda Arnold stop by too. Actually,
yeah.
If you haven't listened to that episode yourself, Ryan, if you haven't listened to that episode, you should check it out. She's really funny. All right, well, I guess that means that we have trivia and word of the day.
Yeah, so, we obviously there was some lack of time here for you, so you have the trivia and I have the word.
Yes.
So that's kind of a bit of a switcheroo, but I think we can make it work. So why don't I allow you to go first so that I can be horribly embarrassed first?
Okay, sure, why not? So, here we go. Today's trivia is about... the first question should be, what is today's trivia about? But it's not. Today's trivia is about paper.
Paper, alright.
Yeah. I know, isn't that super random? So I wrote this quiz in about 15 minutes in a mad panic when I realized we didn't have a quiz for today. So I hope it's as stunning and wonderful as all of our quizzes.
Okay, well, I'm excited.
Here we go. How many newspapers? I believe this is worldwide. It is worldwide, actually.
Are we talking about paper or are we talking about newspapers?
We're talking about paper, but you need paper to make newspapers. Yes, because you need paper to make newspapers.
Yes.
So, how many newspapers are printed each year? 980 million. 24 billion. 100 billion. Or 0, because nobody reads them.
How many are printed per year? I'm going to go with, it's not going to be number one. It's not going to be 980 million or whatever you said there. Say round it up to a billion. It's not going to be that. Because if you do some simple math here, there's 7 billion people in the world. Granted, not everybody gets a newspaper. But generally, there's a newspaper printed every day in most cities, I would assume.
Businesses
yeah,
get multiple
and
copies.
now, you know, when you say newspapers, I also think of the community news. Now, I don't know if that figure is added to your numbers, which I think would go up, because generally in most areas of a city they get a weekly community type thing, free paper. I'm going to go with the biggest number, whatever it is.
Wow. Okay, so biggest number is 100 billion.
Oh yeah, that might be a little high.
I can't say that without my pinky in my mouth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna say fuck it and go with that.
Okay. Well, no, you said fuck it and it turned out bad. 24 billion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems conservatively realistic of a number.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, 980 million just doesn't work. The math doesn't add up, and I didn't actually remember the second number you gave me, so I just went with the biggest in hopes that it was right, and clearly it was not. So
No,
that's the thing.
terribly. Okay. So paper. You know how anniversaries have gifts, right? Like there's the gold anniversary.
Yep.
Paper is the gift of what anniversary?
Oh shit.
The 1st, the 4th, the 10th, or the 25th.
It's not the 25th. I want to say it's the shit. I should know this. I'm gonna go with the 10th.
No, you're wrong.
Fuck.
You won't get the point, but if you had to take a second guess, what would it be?
The 4th.
Nope, 1st.
Is it? I absolutely was against it being the 1st. Okay, wow, okay. But I guess that kind of makes sense, because, you know, you've gone, you've paid for a wedding, honeymoon, etc., and you're not going to go out and buy her brand new diamonds a year after getting married. So, yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of other things as gifts and stuff. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, I suck.
Yeah,
My deduction ability has gone to shit today.
Yes. Your elementary is simple. Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna finish that with Holmes, and then I realized that's not even how it goes at all. He said,
"No,
never
it
mind.
wasn't."
I just fucked the whole thing up. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna bring it up this time. I was gonna let that one slide. So you're welcome.
Yeah. Just humming right along then. Which of these fruits is used to make a special paper bearing its name? Orange, plum, banana, or apple?
Oh, I want to say banana.
Ooh, you got it right.
Yeah, I know I did.
Yeah, definitely you did.
I was confident in my answer.
So why? Why did you have a reason?
Why was I confident in my answer? Because I've heard of it before.
Okay, I wondered if you'd heard of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And also, because I was really on the fence of whether I'd heard about it before. I mean, I was thinking you were going to go with rice, but that's not a fruit. So, but banana, just if you're trying to deduce, I would think that banana would make the most sense, as it is the most fibrous. Mm-hmm. And I believe that also it is the easiest to access in terms of gathering materials. I don't feel like oranges, plums, and apples would be economically viable to peel to make paper, whereas bananas is just a quick flip.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wowzers. Did you ever think that through? Yeah, no, it's definitely banana for all the reasons you just said. I thought that maybe apple, you could kind of imagine apple being ground to a pulp, sort of, and then like pressed, I thought maybe. But I knew plum was out there, but wow, did you ever narrow in on banana for all the right reasons?
Absolutely I did. I'm a fucking genius.
It's the first one you got right, so, hold your horses.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Which is a type of paper used as an electrical insulator? Are you an electrician?
No. Amateur electrician.
So. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you know this then. Fish paper, electric paper, flash paper, or board paper?
See, and I wouldn't know. I know that there's paper in electrical insulation. I've stripped enough wires and hooked up enough wires in my day to know that. I'm just going to wager a guess at flash paper.
Okay. I picked that because I'm watching The Flash.
You're an asshole.
Yeah, I know. But it's not that.
No.
Electric paper I thought was good because, hey, they call electric tape electric tape. But no, it's none of those. It's fish paper. Because everybody knows that has everything to do with electricity.
Absolutely it does. There's electric eels, and those are fish. I should have been able to make the connection.
Damn, you should have been disappointed in you.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in myself. I'm gonna have to flog myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but that's more for fun.
I think there's a cam site for that.
Yeah, there is.
Wow. All right then. I was gonna say something, and I felt like it. Oh yeah, no, it didn't. Well, not really. We're coming up to our 50th episode soon, eh?
Holy jumping! We should get drunk.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking maybe number 50 needs to be day drinking too.
Yeah, it could be. That's not a bad idea. 50 episodes. Look at us go.
Yeah.
Although I haven't been here since the beginning, so I can't really take a lot of credit for that.
No, I counted. I think you've been here since. Not since. I know what number you've been here since, 35. But I think you've been on 11 episodes or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
I get around.
Yeah. Round. Okay, sorry, I had a Beach Boys moment. How much wrapping paper and gift bags
Try again.
Let me start this again.
Reset.
It's because I didn't write the questions properly. Generally, this time I just have point form. How much cup America? I'm just... How much wrapping paper and gift bags does America use every Christmas? Every holiday season? 4 million tons! 12.5 million tons! 79 million tons! Or 25 million tons?
Let's go 79 million tons.
Wow. Only 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep in mind wrapping paper is super light.
I know, and that's a tough one. I mean, so yeah, I was gonna go with 4, and then I'm just like, no, I enjoy being wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a sadomasochistic thing you got going on over there.
Absolutely.
This is the final question, and you can tell that I was just relying on consumption statistics at this point. How many paper cups does the U.S. use per year? I guess dispose of. Because depending how you use them, maybe
those poor turtles.
Yeah. What?
Turtles.
Poor turtles?
Poor turtles.
Why, do they get stuck in the cups?
They get stuck in the cups. And birds and fishes and shit. I just saw a video today where a skunk had his head stuck in a cup.
Oh, that's not good. I didn't realize that was a thing. I know they got stuck in not nets, 6-pack rings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize they got stuck in cups.
I always cut my 6-pack rings, my pop things. But apparently, so a lot of restaurants are switching to cardboard straws. And again, this is some sort of movement to save the turtles. I don't really understand this one. I haven't researched it. Excuse my ignorance on it. But I will say this, that the cardboard straws are fucking useless.
Oh, have you got to try one?
I have, yeah. Yeah, a couple months ago, a few months ago, Naomi and I went to a bar, and she got cardboard straws, and they sog up pretty quick.
I'd imagine they got to get that shit under control. I think it's worth trying to do, but I think they got to get the technology under control.
Well, they make those, and I think it was on Dragon's Den actually, and they had the hemp, or maybe it wasn't hemp, I don't know, but they had disposable, biodegradable cutleries and plates that weren't styrofoam or anything like that, and they were
bamboo,
durable.
I think.
Was it bamboo? Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, and they were durable. So, you can sit there and with your spoon and eat your bowl of soup, right? So, I mean, I'm not really sure why there isn't something like a product like that. I mean, and maybe there is, but I just know that the cardboard straws that we came across were absolutely horrendous to use. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine the cost,
That's what I think it is. Yeah.
You know, like the cost of them. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so last question.
Yeah. No, I think it's a cost thing. I think that's why more people aren't like. That's why it's not bamboo. That's why it's not, because I think the bamboo stuff's really expensive. I worked in a food court, sort of, inside a school. SATE, for your benefit, and I guess for anybody who's listening in the city. But I worked in the food court at SATE, and I was a food service manager, so I had 4 units that I oversaw. And we had one in there that was called Rice Tails. That people might know of. They're in a lot of airports. And they're like a hybrid Asian fusion thing. And as part of their thing, for a long time, we used to get bamboo forks and bamboo spoons and knife, like little butter knife spready things from them. Yeah. And in my opinion, they were kind of splintery. They weren't my favorite thing, but a lot of people thought they were really cool. Like customers thought they were really cool and stuff. So I guess that's
I think it's great to, you know, it's absolutely fantastic to you know, take care of the environment, and I'm behind that 100%. You know. But it is. It's if I'm using a disposable item, aside from the things that I might look at in terms of the impact on the planet and landfills and what have you, you know, I want it to be durable. I don't want to be sitting there with my disposable cutlery or even my plate. And that's the thing. Like I will camping. I'm a big fan of using paper plates. And, cause I can just use them to start fires or just throw it all in the fire and it's fine, right? But I'll have to use 2 or 3 of them if I'm eating a steak or a pork chop, something that requires to be cut because, you know, the juices or the moisture from your food just sogs these things right out. You know, so I mean, and so I'm using 2 or 3 of them and you know, just to be able to cut through my steak without slicing my leg open or getting steak juice all over my leg, you know? So, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm all about the environment, but, you know, I expect the shit to work.
Yeah, no,
that's
definitely.
It. Yeah.
I was gonna say those wooden things, those fucking bamboo things, though, were expensive. That was my end game. That's why I said all that. Yeah, okay. That was my...
Anyways, now that we've gone to sidebar, what's the last question?
Can you imagine if Jeopardy worked this way? It's just a 25-minute break while they just talk about fucking nothing at all.
Yeah, right.
All right. Without any of the energy lost or the flow broken whatsoever. How many paper cups does the U.S. use every year? 16 billion, 29 billion, 50 billion, or 100 billion?
16. No.
What?
No, I'm gonna go with shit. I'm gonna go with 29.
I'm gonna cry. Okay, it was 16.
Oh, fuck me.
I had already written right next to it. Okay. So you got 1 right.
I got 1 right. Yes!
Wow, okay. And that means that you got 5 wrong, but you came so close to getting 2 right. It breaks my heart.
I did. I know. I'm shoving my head in the sand after that one.
Yeah, you rightfully you should.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was a total failure of a quiz yet again for me.
That was an epic fail.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now give me a word of the day.
Okay. So, not that it's important at all.
Not that it matters.
Yeah, no. Not that it matters on any level. What does this mean? Okay, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know why I started like that. That's okay. So your word is ballybrack.
Is ballybrack?
Bally. BALLYBRACK. Ballybrack.
Ballybrack. Okay, I know what a ballybrack, if I could say it, a ballybrack is. Holy shit. A ballybrack is, it's like a lollygag or something of that nature, but, instead of being just a haphazard and kind of meaningless waste of time, it's like, it's a confident and brash usage of time that's also coincidentally a waste of time. So it's like a very confident but redundant use of time. That's like ballybracking. if that makes sense. So, you know, you might, maybe somebody who's trying to procrastinate, might wind up washing their dirty car when they're supposed to be going to a doctor's appointment. Well, you know, they're not just lollygagging, that's not why they're late. No, they're doing something important, but it's also a complete waste of time and a total secondary priority. So that would be ballybracking.
Okay. Yeah. That just happened. Okay,
You're welcome.
I am dumber for having listened to that.
Okay.
Just to be honest. So clearly you are not wrong. And I mean,
I'm not wrong? Yes!
Or you're not right.
Fucking A, nailed it!
See, that's what I'm saying. I need a second here.
Too bad.
Because I've forgotten how to read because I am, like I said, dumber for having listened to that. So the actual meaning of ballybrack is to fake the death of an obscure relative to avoid an engagement.
Oh, wow. I wasn't that far off.
You were ridiculously far off.
Well, I kind of was, but first of all, it had something to do with avoiding. Second of all, it is a thing that you do that's dishonest. It's not an item. It's not a place. It's a thing you do to be dishonest. I think I was in a shockingly close ballpark.
Uh-huh. Well, whatever helps you sleep at night, I suppose. Right.
If you were my definition of ballybracking to get out of work, then but it wouldn't be important. It's close to a ballybrack. A ballybrack is close to a ballybrack.
No, it's the made up death of an obscure relative. It's not even close. It's not open to interpretation where you can go, well, no, that's what it fucking means. Like, that's what it means. You can't go, oh, well, no, you weren't close. Sorry. Wow. No, I'm not. You know what? There are things that I will give you. There absolutely is. But this is not one of them.
If this was Wheel of Fortune, I'd be in the right category, and that's all that matters.
Wheel of Fortune? No.
That's how I measure my life.
Speaking of Wheel of Fortune, but not actually Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, you heard that Alex Trebek is dying.
Yes. I guess we could talk about that, even though I haven't done any research. Yeah.
Well, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so, obviously, he's been an absolute TV icon for 50 years or something, I think he's been doing the show. Something to that extent. And it was very cool. Like, you know, I've read a little bit here and there, and you know, he's one of the few celebrities that has never had any form of scandal.
Yeah.
No. And so he did a video for YouTube to announce this. You know, and it was amazing. Like, it was like he was reading off one of his clues on a show. Like, he was just very poised and yeah, it was awesome. So, you know, I wish him the best of luck. Apparently there is a success rate, a survival rate.
It's very minute.
It's low. I think it was 20% or something. But he feels he's going to be in that, and I absolutely hope he is, just because, yeah, he's Alex motherfucking Trebek.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I grew up. I mean, I think everybody did, right? Like you said, it's been like half a century he's been on television. But I mean, yeah, like, of course, me, like millions of other people, I grew up watching him on TV, and him went, you know, then Wheel of Fortune right afterwards. It was always Jeopardy and then Wheel of Fortune every night. So yeah, no, definitely. That was a very big thing. I'm glad we kind of stopped to talk about that. For sure, I saw that, and I saw the video and everything. And you're right, like, he was so poised. He dealt with it so professionally, and he wanted to do it to get the jump on people finding out from the rumor mill, from it getting leaked, and there just be a rumor Alex Trebek is dying on the front page of something tomorrow. Like, he wanted to get a jump on it and be the one to tell people.
Well, and even just the crap, really, right? That comes out of that when shit gets leaked, you know, inappropriately, and it's the crap that surrounds it. Like, you know, he took a trip to Africa, had sex with a giraffe, and got stage 4 pancreatic cancer or something, you know, or whatever. People just start speculating on a lot of shit, and you know, and I mean, it's an invasion of privacy, and it's embarrassing and everything. And, you know, somebody like Alex Trebek, who again has never had any form of scandal, you know, and all that, he definitely deserves better. So that was fantastic that he did that, because I don't think a lot of people will do that. And I mean, with his poisedness, if that's even a word, it's like, this can't be easy for him. Right. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's staying this positive and he's like, no, I'm going to be one of the survivors. That's it. That's all. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, that's good on him. But again, I mean, it can't be easy on him or his family to be going through this. So to have the ability to be able to do that, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that'll, you know, for whatever it's worth, without getting into too much oogie boogie medicine, I think it'll help him to be that positive. He's clearly not giving up. He wants to continue to host. He wants to do 2 more seasons of Jeopardy, he said.
Well, that's what he said. He says, I can't die. My contract won't allow it.
Yeah. He's signed for 2 more years, so he's got to live at least that long.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. But who would replace him? So let's say whatever, he dies, he survives, whatever. He decides at the end of his contract that he's done. Who would replace him?
So here's the thing. I think this is such a unique situation because he did confront it in the public and he didn't fade away and he didn't, you know, we all know, we've all seen this happen to other celebrities. They just vanish and then it turns out, battled a long-term illness. I see what happened, right? And I mean, I think the fact that he's being so out there about it, the way I would expect this to go is either he would nominate that person, he would choose that person.
But who do you think, like, in your mind, who would be a good replacement for Alex Trebek?
Well, I was going to say, or God forbid Jeopardy ends. That's so hard to imagine. It's literally been there my whole life.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, bottom line is that Alex Trebek has made Jeopardy. He is Jeopardy.
He is Jeopardy. There's nobody else that's ever... It's not like so many shows where there has been different people go through it, like Regis and Kelly or whatever.
Look,
like,
you know, Bob Barker was... you know, Price is Right, and now they got Drew Carey. What's his
But Bob Barker was such a warm person.
Yeah.
And such a genuine, caring, and loving person. And if you know anything about Drew Carey, I'm a huge fan of a lot of people that are very close to him, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of the people around it. So I hear so much about him on different things I listen to and stuff. And he's truly... People have the most beautiful things to say about him. Drew Carey is apparently just a phenomenal person.
Is he?
He is just the kindest guy. Yeah. He has no idea why he's famous or how anybody could be entertained by him, but he's just grateful every day he wakes up and people know who he is.
I don't like him on the show. I'm not gonna lie.
I think no, I wasn't as big a fan of the Drew Carey show. I was a really big fan of Whose Line.
No, but I mean, as the host of Price is Right,
that's what you mean. Okay, sorry.
I'm not real sold on it. It just, for me, it doesn't fit because, and I think a big part is because, you know what, I didn't mind the Drew Carey show, and definitely Whose Line Is It Anyway was awesome. But, you know, I mean, again, it's all comedy, and Bob Barker wasn't a comedian. He was a game show host, and so it's combining 2 worlds, where we see Drew Carey in one light and he's trying to be in a different light. Not saying that he's not capable. I just, you know, I think that they could have cast somebody else. But good for him. I mean, it's not like he does a bad job. You know.
I mean, that's true to an extent, but I mean, Drew Carey too, I mean, you gotta give him like almost, I think it's almost 2 decades of hosting improv, whether it be Whose Line or Drew Carey's Green Screen. I mean, you could almost argue that he spent a lot more time as a host almost than he has as like a sitcom.
But he was still funny.
Anything like that.
In Whose Line anyways, he still made jokes. He still had a comedic presence.
Yeah, but I think that's what I was meaning about like the warmth of Bob Barker and stuff. I think that's kind of necessary. You wouldn't want Alex Trebek hosting The Price is Right.
No.
You know what I mean?
No,
you don't want that.
work.
These people come up and they're screaming and they're crying and they're jumping and they're bouncing and they want hugs and they want to laugh and they want, you know, like...
Well, I have a nomination. Back
to that.
Yeah, I have a nomination for the new host of Jeopardy, regardless of the outcome.
Okay, go ahead.
My nomination is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay, honestly?
Yeah.
Honestly, okay?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know about that. I wasn't expecting that. When I was trying to give it, honestly, like I was trying to think of somebody who's in that kind of world, who hosts something already. Like I was trying to think of, and I'm so detached from game shows and stuff like that anymore. Like it's been years since I've watched any of those.
Yeah, I haven't watched them. It's either Benedict or Cheech and Chong.
Cheeky Chong?
Cheech and Chong.
Oh, Cheech and Chong. For Jeopardy?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so.
It's 2019. Take it in a different direction. You know?
In that case, I mean, nobody's off. I just had an idea, because I was trying to look up, like, some of the best dressed men. I was just trying to get some guys in my head who were kind of that kind of poise of elegance, like Trebek.
Okay.
But I hadn't gotten anywhere yet. But then that made me think of, and when you said Cumberbatch, it all came together. Who am I thinking of? It's going to be so embarrassing because it's such a name. George Clooney. I was going to say the guy Ellen always fucks with. That was going to be my hint, but then, George Clooney. George Clooney.
Yeah. Again,
you're going to accept Benedict Cumberbatch, who's definitely an actor first. Okay, the door's got to be open. So, I mean, Clooney's got that poise and that older gray fox kind of, thing about him.
Well, and I think Benedict Cumberbatch has that solemnness, that voice, that monotone voice. He's a very poised person, and I think, and George Clooney, I would think absolutely would be a good choice as well, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Homer Simpson.
Probably not, though.
Things just going animated and shit now. Let's just do animated Jeopardy,
Yeah.
And your host of Jeopardy, Bart Simpson, or whatever, right? So, Peter Griffin.
Can you imagine?
It'd be fucking brilliant. Totally ruin the franchise. But what do you do?
It would ruin life.
It would.
I don't even know. I'm trying to think of somebody other than George Clooney, but yeah, and I think since most of your other ones have been animated, I think I'm safe. I think George Clooney's I think I'm sticking to George Clooney.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered everything.
Justin Timberlake, no. I was looking for well-dressed men. I was just looking for well-dressed men, and I was like, no, that can't happen. I'm looking at George Clooney. I think he fits in. I think he would fit there. He's got the same kind of hair thing going as. Not that the person has to look like Alex Trebek. I just mean there's a thing to the show now. The show has an identity. It should be a silver fox kind of guy. It would feel weird if somebody in his 20s came out all like pumped full of energy and you know what I mean? That would be weird. It's got to be somebody who's got the lineage, who's almost a Trebek already.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. I mean, pancreatic cancer either kills you in a month or you survive. So
yeah.
So I guess in the next few months we'll see what happens, and but it could be also, like you said, and I mean it would be unfortunate, but it could also just be canceled, which that would be terrible.
Well, I think it'd be poetically beautiful if it was canceled.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely have its not bright side, but it's poetic side or whatever. Yeah. They would do
in the world of Family
episode.
Feud, I mean,
yeah,
that's had 17,000 different hosts now.
Oh yeah.
It would be nice to see kind of that Seinfeld, where he was like, we wanted to go out on top, so they just quit. They didn't wait for things to peter down, and they didn't get moved to some Friday night death slot before they went out or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just did it on their own terms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to see Jeopardy do something like that, like this man who has been the face of this since its birth.
Yeah, and to say goodbye. Yeah, too. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
We'll have to revisit this when we find out what
absolutely
actually
we will.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. So obviously, our thoughts are with Alex Trebek.
Absolutely, they are. Yeah, our thoughts and our prayers and our best wishes and
quintessential part of our television sets for like 2 decades now. So at least 3 decades, probably 4 decades.
Yeah,
wow. So, well, on that very somber and sad note, well, if you're listening to this, obviously you've made it this far in the episode, and that either means that you killed yourself and the radio's just running in the room still, and now the first responders are there, or it means that you actually enjoy this. So if that's the case, then why don't you go ahead and leave us a review? You can do that on Apple, you can do that on even Facebook now, you can do that almost everywhere you listen to podcasts, even Stitcher, or Podient if you happen to listen to us on our host site. And if you like us more than just leaving a review, why don't we get really serious, baby? Why don't you go ahead and help us out on Patreon? You can find us over there at patreon.com/TSC podcast. And you can go over there and there's a ton of exclusive content. You can get video feeds of our podcast. You can get extended cuts of our podcast, which don't happen that often, but they happen. And you can also get special weekly minisodes that we record every week. And yeah, so today we had with us, let's get this right, Joe Dimeo. And you can find out more about him and Ben Ferguson's show, The Broaum Podcast, at www.broaum.com. You can also find them, I think, pretty much wherever there's podcasts available. I know they're on SoundCloud too. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for us, yeah? This has been the Total Stickcast. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for joining us on the Total Stickcast. The Total Stickcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts, including Google Play, Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. We appreciate your ratings and reviews as they help other people find us and help us to grow. Please take the time to let us know what you think. The Total Stickcast is hosted and produced by Paul Johnson and features Ryan Blair and Terry Savage. You can connect with Paul Johnson directly on Twitter at OffTheLP or at everythingpaul.net. That's everythingpaul.net. You can find the Total Stickcast on Twitter and Facebook at Total Stickcast. You can also reach us by email at TotalStickShow@gmail.com. My name is Larry G. Jones, and this has been the Total Stickcast. Thank you for making us a part of your day.